Oh, where are my manners? We have a guest. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 6 of my Bloodborne lore play, I guess is the best way to put it. I've been struggling to come up with the name, and I think lore play is the right way to refer to these. I am your host, Victor Nutt. So we had kind of been teasing this as something that we needed to talk about in previous episodes, and I think now would probably be a good time to go over this. So this game has been very slowly tiptoeing its way into what we would probably be comfortable calling Lovecraftian horror, or possibly even cosmic horror. And I think now would be a good time to go over what I would consider the core Lovecraftian concepts that are at play here. I think they can be summed up as 4 different or unique concepts, not necessarily all created originally by H.P. Lovecraft, but they are themes that tend to appear very frequently in the stories of H.P. Lovecraft. So let's go ahead and lay them out here. I might put up a little graphic on the screen just to highlight each one of them as we go down the list here. And I put them in order of how soon we will probably start to see evidence of these things at play. And in one case, I think we've already seen it, and in fact, we're seeing it right now. So, number 1, the world of our dreams and the waking world are 2 separately existing dimensions, ones that any human can enter. The game practically begins with us entering the hunter's dream. I'm using quotey fingers, even though we're actually in it right now. And every time we travel to Yharnam, we awaken, there's the quotes again, in our chosen place. Death seems to have no meaning for the main character, as we can simply enter a dream and awaken again, seemingly at will. We never actually have any real consequences. We lose blood echoes, but we can always make more. If we want to earn some on the side, we could just go through an earlier area of the game and kill some enemies to pick them up. There is literally no consequence for us ever dying. And that's simply because if we die, we enter the dream world, and when we awaken back in Yharnam. We also can strengthen our bodies, our equipment, even our minds through the Cainhurst runes in the dream, and then that same strength carries over into the waking world. So we have evidence as we're playing right now that the dream world and the waking world are both real and separate dimensions, and we're having no problem going back and forth between them. We even had a hunter, Jura, who attacked us and asked if we still dream. What he was likely inferring or saying that for was that he knew when we died, quoties, that we weren't actually going to die, we were simply going to enter the dream and then reawaken back wherever we had originally come into Yharnam from the dream, which was back at that hunter's lantern just outside of Old Yharnam. The second concept at play. Knowledge of the true nature of the world around us is dangerous, and the human mind can only handle so much before losing its sanity. Think of the human mind like a rubber band, and the insight that we have been receiving as small weights added to that rubber band. Alone, each bit of insight is relatively harmless, but the rubber band, or mind, can only absorb so much additional weight before it finally snaps. In that sense, insight can be dangerous. We will find out why eventually. Of course, we have seen multiples of examples of this already in the form of the Madman's, I think it's knowledge item. Let's see what it's called exactly. Madman's knowledge. There you go. Let's take a quick look at the picture one more time. These items are in fact remnants of human minds that encountered knowledge so profound it figuratively, possibly, or maybe even literally, caused their minds to explode. That doesn't appear to be just a drawing over top of a mind. It looks like that skull literally exploded. Now, this could just be an artist's representation of what we're finding there. But they haven't been doing artists' representations for these items. They've been showing us actual physical items that we encounter in the world. So one could fairly assume this means that the knowledge that we're acquiring in this game can be dangerous to us in a very literal sense. The third concept that we may be already seeing at play, and maybe we'll see more literal evidence of it as we're playing in the game. The cosmos is an incomprehensibly vast place, but humans attempt to make it more accessible through a combination of occult rituals and science. We've been learning more and more as we're playing through the game about rituals that are being conducted by members of the Healing Church, and more recently, the School of Mensis. To what end, we do not yet know. We know that the School of Mensis in Yahar'gul was conducting some kind of ritual, but part of that ritual required them kidnapping people and bringing them there. The Healing Church has been tasking the ladies in the Hemwick area behind the Grand Cathedral with digging up bodies and dismembering them so that they can acquire materials that they would use in their rituals. Also, live human beings are being used as some of these ritual materials. We were finding bloodshot eyeballs, and as the description of those bloodshot eyeballs indicated to us, I'm dropping the controller here. Let's find one of them. Here we go. These eyeballs were removed quickly after death, or perhaps even before. So in this case, they may even be using live people as part of the ritual materials. That the same could be true even with the ritual blood that we found. But ultimately, both of these groups are conducting rituals of some kind as part of their larger goals, which we have not found a good explanation for at this point. But we're getting closer and closer with each area that we get to. The fourth concept, and this is probably the one that's the most profound, but we still haven't found great evidence for yet. There exists, or once existed, an ancient race of powerful beings known as the Great Old Ones that rule, or once ruled, the earth, whose very existence defies the ability of the sane human mind to comprehend, and whose interests and desires were separate from our own. As such, human beings and our place in the cosmos is insignificant, or rendered insignificant. We've seen notes and item descriptions throughout the game referring to Great Ones or Old Ones. I think most recently we found that formless Odin rune that we see here that says that Odin was a Great One. But we don't have any tangible proof that they actually exist. At least, not yet. All we know for certain is people keep referring to these Great Ones, and you would assume they refer to them because they've had some kind of contact with them. But we haven't seen one ourselves yet, so we have no reason, at least at this point, to assume they actually exist. These could just be people who are experimenting or conducting rituals and doing some stuff that's altering their minds. And this could all be nonsense. It could be bullshit. But those are the four core concepts that are at play here, Lovecraftian concepts that I would say we need to keep in mind, because these are things that were woven into his own writings. And as we've started playing further and further into the game, we're starting to see evidence of all of these things, or at least the traces of evidence of all of these things being hinted at or being shown very literally. So anyway, let's get back to it. I think there was an item that we had not looked at when we initially picked it up. And it might not be a bad idea to take a look at it now. And that was the gold pendant that the Vicar Amelia was carrying on her. Gold pendant. Pendant of Vicar Amelia. Used to change into a blood gem, which fortifies weapons. This pendant, passed down among the vicars who head the healing church, is a reminder of the cautionary adage, words that will open the gates of Bergenworth. What they're referring to is the words, fear the old blood. Those are the cautionary adage words that we need to get into the next area that we're going to be looking at in the game. But it turns out this item is actually capable of being converted into a blood gem, so let's go ahead and do that. There's no reason to hold on to this. It's not sentimental. There's no extra purpose for it. Once you witness the cutscene between Willem and Lawrence, where they actually say the adage, we were born of the blood, made men of the blood, undone by the blood, our eyes are yet to open. The key words are, fear the old blood. We got a gold blood gem. Let's go up to the hunter's workshop and see what that's worth to us. I believe that is another possible droplet gem, but I guess we'll find out in a second here. Oh no, it's a radial. Okay. Attack versus beasts up 12.6%. So that is a very specific upgrade. It allows us to do more damage, but only against beasts. If you know you're going up against like a big boss that happens to be a beast, that's a useful item. Otherwise, I'd say it's just better leaving it off, because a flat boost to your damage across the board, no matter what you're fighting, is always going to be better than something that's specific to an enemy, unless it happens to be a boss that you're fighting. So we won't mess with what we have set up right now. I don't think there was anything else we've missed. At least I hope we haven't missed anything. Nope, I don't think there is. And that's fine. We're already getting most of the core information that we need to have in order to play through this game. There may be some more information that we would ideally find if we had gone through the Chalice dungeons that I may have to just talk about as opposed to find in-game. In fact, I think at the end of the area coming up, it would behoove us to have a little bit of information about who we're looking at and why we're seeing them if we had gone into the Chalice dungeons, but I think I'm going to avoid that for the time being. It's not critical for your ability to appreciate the larger story at play, knowing who they are. They, plural. We'll see who I'm talking about in a little bit, I'm sure. So, it's been a while since we have been in Central Yharnam. Let's check on everyone and see how they're doing. It's been a while since we've seen Gilbert. I still hear him coughing. That's a good sign.
Have I heard of Bergenworth? Afraid I can't say that I have. The locals aren't apt to share any local history. I'm afraid I may not be of help for much longer.
Aw, poor Gilbert. Whatever it was that he was afflicted with when he came to Yharnam in seek of treatment doesn't sound like he's going to make it. Anything else?
I know nothing of a Bergenworth. And I'm afraid I may not be of help for much longer.
So sadly, I think we've gotten pretty much everything we're going to get out of poor Gilbert. The next time we come here, he probably will have passed away. Down you go, big boy. this way? Yeah, I guess we can do this. So I'm trying to trace a route back to the former location of an NPC that I think you guys all know who I'm talking about back here. Not the old lady, because of course she's already in Newton Chapel, but where the daughter Gascoigne once was. Also, it's a good opportunity to pick up some blood vials, because as we noticed in the last episode, I was starting to run a tad low. So we can get some easy blood vials. I wouldn't mind that on the way. Ouch! You jerk. Uh-oh! Oh! Come here. Stay down. Excellent. I like blood. Give me blood. And as we did in the last episode, I put on the Tomb Prospector garb. I really do like this outfit. I think it's a very sharp looking outfit. Yeah, I don't know if there was a shorter way down there, but we'll take this path, which is going to cost me a little life. Owie! Key up. I think he said "fi" on me. I haven't heard a "fi" all game. But you got something? So something else that we hadn't really gone into yet, partly because I don't think we had any great explanation for it, but it's certainly worth asking questions about at this point, which is, we know that Gehrman had a group of hunters that were initially tasked with fighting the beasts. We know that at some point Ludwig became the Healing Church's answer, and Ludwig may have surpassed or supplanted Gehrman as the hunter that was tasked with taking care of the beast scourge. So the question becomes, if the church in its own way was trying to take care of the beast scourge quietly on its own, how did we get to the point where random people started walking the streets and killing beasts, or attempting to kill beasts? Where are the hunters? Has the scourge become so bad that the church can no longer handle the problem itself? Is it possibly tasking the people with hunting the beasts, knowing that the people themselves are the source of the beasts? So now they're weaponizing them against themselves? Again, I don't know if we have any items in this game to directly answer that question, but it's interesting to think that the Healing Church, who had very direct evidence from their own clergy or high-ranking members, hell, even the leader who originally founded the Healing Church, eventually became a beast and was put down. So they knew that the people were becoming beasts, and they were becoming beasts as a result of the blood that they were administering. So they had to at some point have decided that leaving the people out of the loop on this did not serve them. But of course, if the people knew that the use of blood was going to be what would turn them into beasts, they would probably stop using the blood. So that could possibly mean that the Healing Church simply told the people, we can't do this on our own. We need your help to help control the scourge of the beasts, and started teaching them how to fight. Of course, they didn't give them the nice clothing or the fancy weapons. They simply said, you know, the beasts are weak to serrated edges and fire, which is why you see people running around with cleavers and, you know, pitchforks, hooks, torches. Crude torches is their weaponry. Now, this is interesting. We know that the daughter Gascoigne left to try to track down the father, but we can still talk. No response. Okay. So there is actually a segment of the story that we may not have been able to do the way that we approached it, where if you, I believe, give the music box back to, or not the music box, but the jeweled brooch to the daughter, I think when she leaves, an older sister actually answers this window. And that usually happens after you find the pig down in the sewers, you kill it, and you obtain that messenger ribbon. If you bring it back here and you give it to the daughter, she will accept it knowing that, you know, her younger sister died. And then she has a little bit of dialogue where she basically celebrates quietly that she now has obtained the ribbon for herself, as though the most important thing in her life wasn't the fact that her parents and sister are all dead. It's now that she has acquired this ribbon that she wanted so badly from her sister. So it's a rather cold end to the Gascoigne family, and I was wondering if we might be able to see it here, but I think you have to approach the communication of the parents' fate a little bit differently than we ended up doing. So not a huge deal. It's not a big change to the overarching storyline of the game. Hello. Ooh. Nice little bit of swapping back and forth between targets. That could have gone very poorly. And it still might. A lot of people to kill. We're making short work of these guys. At the beginning of the game, they were not the most formidable opponents, but they were still a threat, and we've gotten far enough along in our abilities as a potential hunter. Again, we never agreed to anything that we know of, unless it was in that contract. But our skills have improved to the point where we're not really struggling to fight even groups of these regular civilians. Now watch me get pierced by one of these guys and lose a bunch of health. Oh! Okay, guys. Enough. Give me some blood. I'll take bullets, but I want blood. There we go. There we go. And let's go back up this way. Aw, neither of them drop blood. Alright, let's return to the Hunter's Stream. I think we've gotten everything done that we are going to be able to do in Central Yharnam, at least to this point. And let's see how we're doing on blood. I have some blood echoes, so I can always purchase a little more if we need it. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and buy some, though. Just to benefit our supplies if we run into a tight spot in the next area, because frankly the next area is probably the one that I've struggled with the most when I play this game just kind of privately. So we don't want to... Is it this one? No. Interesting. That second area, that would be the Hunter's Lantern that appears when you finish off the Witches of Hemwick. So they refer to that area as the Witch's Abode. Never knew what the name of that area was supposed to be. I'm going to go to Cathedral Ward. I think that is probably the closest. I'll be honest, we might end up taking the wrong path down to where we need to go, but I think I know where I need to go next. Ta-da! And I don't think any of these people have anything new to say. The next one to have anything to add to the storyline, believe it or not, is probably going to be the old woman, but she has not come back to us from her state of mania right yet. She's still very much in a state of panic about what's going on. And honestly, it's hard to blame her for struggling to come to grips with what's happening. Every night you usually have beasts that the people go out and do a hunt for, but there's usually an end to it. There hasn't been an end to this one. This one, the night seems to be going on and on and on, and there is no end. And I think if you experience that long enough, you would probably start struggling with your sanity. That's a reasonable response. Everyone else just seems to be coming to grips with it in their own quiet way. What's up, big boy? Come on. There we go. See if we can't get a shot on this one without him turning around. Oh, man, and then the birds got in the way. Ah, well. It's always the birds! Now, something interesting that we hadn't really examined before, but these guys even show signs of the beast scourge. Look at their arms, their chests, a lot of hair, even the legs. Hair coming out. I like to think that that body was like, ooh, don't touch the fingies. So, let's see if we can get to the Oogie Boogie this time without dying and without letting it get away. Which means we may have to let the big guy wake up again. Unfortunately. But we need to see the Oogie Boogie first, and there he is. And then we gotta go. Go, 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 go! Hey, big boy, I'll come after you later! Ow! No! Oh, no, don't let it happen again! You! Got him! Now, I've never tried actually stunning these guys. I don't know if it's possible. Don't think so. Also, important to note here, and this is something that we hadn't really talked about at all yet. This guy here is in church garb. He's also wielding what looks an awful lot like a ball and chain. If he's working for the church, why is he chained as though he was a prisoner? Something that we will circle back to probably after the end of this episode, because we will get some more information pertaining to that gentleman's situation. Hopefully. I think we get I think we get enough of what we need to move on storyline-wise. Yeah, we went the wrong way. Shoot. That's all right. We got to talk a little bit about the chained guy up here. That's something that we may have wanted to talk about at some point, but obviously we're a little bit early on what I wanted to go over about that guy there. Oh, you see that? He was going through rigor mortis, his body's starting to twitch. Or it's ragdoll physics losing it. Alright, I don't want to fight you guys. You're too big, you're too tough. And I swear he keeps getting moved around. But in this case, this one, not chained. He wields an axe when you see him initially. So some of them are seemingly imprisoned, and some of them walk about freely. So we'll have to try to suss out what exactly is happening with them in a later time. I think this leads down to Old Yharnam, so we do have to go back this way. It's this way. Sorry. I can speak with confidence on the story. What I cannot do necessarily every time perfectly is guide myself to the area I need to go to. Alright, I think we're good. Moving on. Seeing all these statues with their eyes covered, knowing what some of the women around here have been doing to other people with their eyes, kind of starts putting things in perspective a little bit, doesn't it? I read somewhere, and I don't know how much this is verifiable, unless the creator of the game, Miyazaki, can say for certain, but when they do that right there, what some people have said is it may be a reference to the Invasion of the Body Snatchers scene, the very end, the one from 1970-something, the one with Donald Sutherland, where at the very end of the movie, you find out that he was taken over by one of the body snatchers, and he has that really horrifying moment where he just starts wailing and pointing at the lady, blanking on her name. But I've heard some people say that that's supposed to be a reference to that, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. I think they may be jumping at evidence they can't prove. Whoa! Oh, you see that? Even after I've come through this area once before, I already forgot about them taking their little jumps at you. I don't think this is the right way. So what is the right way? Let's go back. I think where I need to go is back down to the chapel down the hill. I apologize. If this gets really bad, I may just cut this whole section out of the video and leave me going in the very direct route to there, but I would hate to lose the little bit about the gentleman, the big boy down at the bottom of the hill there with the ball and chain on his arm. Let's go this way. Let's see if this ain't it. Okay. Nope. Now, the first time we came through here, I don't think there was anything back in that corner, but now you can see there is one of those snatchers down here. Because they really, at this point in the game, want you to get captured and taken to the Hippogian jail, and also Yahar'gul, So you start getting a taste of what's going on around here. Now, is there... I know there's a guy here. I don't know if this is it. I think this leads to Old Yharnam. It does. Alright, shoot. Ah, crap. Come on. Come on, yeah. Cursed beast. So what am I missing? Alright, let's stand in here and see if I can't figure out how to get there. Okay. I'm an idiot. So I was back the way that we were going previously. I just didn't go far enough. I had to press onward with courage and vigor, and I had neither. And the good news is we already killed most of these people, so we don't have to deal with them again. Except for the ones down here that we kind of walked away from. And by walk, I mean ran. Now, in case there was no obvious evidence that these guys here and the big boys that we saw down the hill were related, note that both of them have a bell around their neck. Now, one of the things that I did read is that this could allude to something that was in the real world required of lepers. When someone was identified as suffering from leprosy back in the day, sometimes they were required to wear bells around their neck, and when they would enter an area full of people that were not afflicted by leprosy, they were required to ring the bell to notify people so that they could, you know, skedaddle if they needed to. But I don't know if that's necessarily what these guys are carrying them for. It may just be symbolic. They gotta wear them to let everyone know, hey, we're working for the church. But only those guys. Normal church hunters like me, no bell. What's up, big boy? Big swing! Oh no. He's got big swings too. Get most of my blood back. This guy's still shooting the wall. I don't think any of the other people down here are going to have much of anything to say. They're all just kind of mumbling maybe at this point, if anything. Now that is new. That could mean a couple of things. One, it could mean that possibly one of her children, or her only child, who knows, is now a beast. We would assume, since she has a lantern outside of her house, and we know that some of these people use incense to protect their homes from beasts, it's possible that inside her house, one of her family members, maybe the child itself, has turned into a beast. It could also just mean she's going crazy and maybe someone in the house killed the baby. Who knows? I don't know if there's enough of the information we would normally require to make that conclusion fairly. Let's see if the other house has anything.
Help me! Please help! Help me!
Nothing new there. So you can see the state of the people is slowly but surely deteriorating as the evening gets later and later. These people are starting to lose it. The night's gone on a long, long time and they're not getting any better. Ow! You jerk! Oh, wow, look at that. And there's our buddy up the hill. What I think would be fairly assumed if we know anything about Lovecraftian horror to be kind of a mind flayer, Cthulhu type beast. Certainly the most evidence we have of anything at this point in the game of old ones. But that's not an old one. We kill him fairly easily. He just takes a couple of swings to get rid of. So the passage we're looking for is somewhere up here. I just got to remember where. I think it's right there. I think it's right there. We'll find out. We're going to get there. Which means I walked in a big circle again. We're going to get there. It's going to happen this episode. I swear it. Yeah, we probably could have just gone down that way. Well, all right. This is what I get for not paying attention while we were playing through earlier. Whee! Whee! And no other way down there except for right on the dog. Hey, pup! I think if you come down here at a certain time, those guys even fall asleep at some point. We haven't gotten to that point just yet, but they will eventually start getting a little bit groggy and start shutting it down for the night. Ah, shoot. You see this? He's perched right up in the entrance. Let's see if we can just walk past him without waking him up. Oh. He moved a little bit. I didn't like that. Alright, we made it. Now, knowing the danger that that mind flare presents to our supply of insight, we're not going to mess with him. It's not worth it. I don't want to lose the insight. I don't want to take the chance that he comes after me. Now, this is an interesting sight. This isn't where Alfred was before. So what are you doing down here, buddy?
Oh, good to see you safe. Now, let's think up something to discuss. Just tell me what piques your interest.
Oh, so many things. I think we've already talked to him about the Healing Church in Bergenworth, but what the heck is corrupted Vial Bloods?
Ah, there's something I want to tell you. A bit of wisdom from the eminent master Logarius. Once, a scholar betrayed his fellows at Bergenworth and brought forbidden blood back with him to Cainhurst Castle. It was there that the first of the inhuman Vile Bloods was born. The Vile Bloods are fiendish creatures who threaten the purity of the Church's blood healing. The ruler of the Vile Bloods is still alive today. And so, to honor my master's wishes, I search for the path to Cainhurst Castle.
there apparently was another group, because the Healing Church was apparently a massive organization that split off from the Healing Church. The Healing Church itself was a splinter group of Bergenworth, and from the Healing Church, as far as we know, there was a splinter group called the School of Mensis. So now apparently there was also a group that splintered from the Healing Church by the name of the Vile Bloods, or possibly the Corrupted Vile Bloods. And this is who Alfred and his master Ligarius were tasked with trying to hunt down and defeat. Again, I think we've already talked to him about all this, but let's just take a quick listen.
The Healing Church is the fountainhead of blood healing. Well, I'm a simple hunter, quite unfamiliar with the ins and outs of the institution.
Yes, yes.
But I have heard that the holy medium of blood healing is venerated in the main cathedral, and that counselors of the old church reside in the high stratum of the cathedral ward. If you seek blood healing, and the church is willing, you should pay them a visit.
I did, and you know what? Wasn't all it was cracked up to be, buddy.
Bergenworth is an old place of learning, and the Tomb of the Gods, carved out below Yharnam, should be familiar to every hunter. Well, once a group of young Bergenworth scholars discovered a holy medium deep within the tomb. This led to the founding of the Healing Church and the establishment of blood healing. In this sense, everything sacred in Yharnam can be traced back to Bergenworth. But today, the college lies deep within a tangled wood, abandoned and decrepit. And furthermore, the Healing Church has declared Bergenworth forbidden ground. It's unclear how many of its scholars remain alive, but only they know the password that allows passage through the gate. I bid you farewell. It has been a pleasure. May the good blood guide your way.
I mean, your organization is itself pretty corrupt, buddy, but at least you're very nice, so it's good to see you too. Also, I think the reason why they put him here as opposed to over by the chapel that leads down to Old Yharnam is to give you more direct information about how to find the password you need to get into the next area, which is down here. If my bumbling idiocy could have bumbled a little bit further in this area, we would have found where I needed to go. Here we go.
The password.
The password is fear the old blood. And what the hell? The guy who wanted a password was dead? So this is one of those great unexplained mysteries that no one really has a great answer for. Who is asking for the password? And if it's this guy, why is he dead? I don't think they ever give you anything to suggest why this is the case. But you talk to him and already dead. But you get a madman's knowledge. So very strange. No good explanation for why that happens. You see a passage that was closed off or crumbled and now is inaccessible. May have led to somewhere else within the game that they just hadn't finished. You never know. Some of that stuff is literally unfinished game world that they decided to just go ahead and close off so that no one could access it. And sometimes it's just there for flavor. Like they do it to show that the world is decaying and falling into ruin. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. So now we are in the Forbidden Woods. Nice view. I think we'll get another establishing shot as we had before. Wonder if there's a way to hide some of these screen implements. See if I can do that. Environment. Display HUD. Aha! Alright, perfect. Let's see if I can do it with a weapon draw. Alright, I'll stop screwing around. But at least I know I can do that. That would be a terrible idea to turn that stuff off if you're going into a big boss fight just to get capture footage so that you could use it as a screenshot, because then you have no idea how much health you have. And I don't think that stuff pops up if you take damage, but maybe it does? So again, as Alfred laid out pretty clearly, this area leads eventually to Byrgenwerth. But they didn't want people coming down here. The rift between Byrgenwerth and the members of the Healing Church became so profound that they basically said no one's allowed to go to Byrgenwerth anymore. So this Healing Church organization, the more we hear about it, the less savory they are. They were some pretty unscrupulous characters. Ouch! That didn't go the way I thought it would. This time it did. Take a little blood. Hey guy, what's up? I think you should come down here. You wanna come have a chat with me? No? Okay. Now, interesting, he's not throwing Molotovs, he's throwing what looks an awful lot like oil. But now he's starting to come in here for a fight. So one of the tactics we used against Vicar Amelia, at least temporarily, was to throw an oil urn at her and then hit her with one of the Molotovs, which did extra damage, but it seemed to be very short-lived. It was a one-time shot, and then further Molotovs didn't actually do any significant increase in damage. Is that mushroom on fire? Oh, it's a cage. I hear someone big. What up, big boy? Let's have a chat. Just you and me. Ow! Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, no. Nope. That didn't go the way I thought it would. He's getting some sweet swings here. These guys are usually much more lumbering. Perhaps they're smartening up a bit. There we go. And I missed it again. Oh, I got him. I got him. Make me waste my bullets. Jerk. And my blood vials. Mine's playing tricks on me. I thought I saw something scamper behind me. It's a horse. They lit a horse corpse on fire. Is there anything to stay warm? So, one thing I like to ask all the time when I come into these areas and find Madman's knowledge is, what did this person see or come to understand that was so profound that it caused the head to explode the way that it did? I don't know what he would have encountered here. Maybe they found a blood gemstone and that was what did it. Who knows? You also can't discount the possibility that they just throw random items into the game to make sure that you're getting an adequate supply of them if they feel you need more. But that would be a very strange placement for that if that was the case. Oh, Bottomless Pit. Well, that one does have a bottom that we can see. So not quite bottomless, but bottom-ish. Of or possessing a bottom. And very important hunter's lantern, because that would be a long walk to get back here from the one that we arrived at over in Uden Chapel. Uden Chapel. Antidote. So I think we had looked at this one before, but we'll look at it again. I can speak. Antidote. Small medicinal tablets that counteract poison. Used to treat ashen blood, the baffling sickness that ravaged Old Yharnam long ago. These tablets only provide short-term relief. The ashen blood ailment eventually triggered the spread of the beastly scourge. So this was originally what people were taking to treat an illness known as ashen blood. They say that ashen blood triggered the spread of the beastly scourge. Now, one would have to question, was it a direct link between someone having a condition called ashen blood and somehow the beast scourge manifesting itself? Or was it that the people were trying to treat themselves with antidote? The healing church stepped in and said, here's some blood that will help treat your ashen blood condition. You should use that. And then the blood that they were receiving was itself what was causing the beast scourge. I think it's interesting to question that, because we don't have enough from this alone to make the assumption that ashen blood was the direct cause of the beast scourge. I think it's a fairer conclusion that the healing church tried to step in and fix something that they thought their blood ministration could heal, and they couldn't. No, you don't. Thank you for the bullets. I would have rather you give me blood, but, you know, whatever. Ooh! Right over the shoulder. Yoink! So, I'm gonna step over here for a second. See if there's anything hidden. There usually is, yeah. Twin Bloodstone Shards. So there's an interesting bit of environmental storytelling here that one would be very apt to pay attention to while playing through this area, especially if they do so carefully. Look at the ground right here. See a lot of bones. Those bones kind of look human. Some over there too. You also see a surreptitiously placed pile of boards. I wonder what happens if I step on the boards. Yay! So someone was setting traps here. And these may have been some of the victims of those traps. I would be lying if I said every time I've seen that coming and managed to avoid it. I have definitely been hit by it at least once, if not multiple times. But I've played through it enough to know that that one is there. There may be one or more traps that get me later on as we go through this area, but that didn't get me with that one. Not that one. That was a waste. Come on, you know better. There we go. Ah, crap, I missed. That's alright. He still died. He still gave me blood. Interesting. I keep playing this seesaw game with my blood and my quicksilver bullets. I was worried about having enough blood vials to get through this area, and now it's starting to look like I'm going to get way more than I need, and then I'm going to run out of bullets again. Such is the story of Bloodborne. You never have enough of the one thing you think you need, and then when you finally do start getting it, you run out of the other thing you need. So this is where we got to go next. I don't know if there's any benefit to trying to get the drop on them from behind. It's going to be tough either way you go. Up the pups. The pups are on me. I got my scent. Uh-oh. Someone's throwing some oil urns again. So they're starting to vary their tactics to try to get me. Come on, dude. Seriously? Just fight. Bam, man. Do I have any pebbles? I sure do. Let's take advantage of that. Hey, jerk. Come here. Let's fight on my terms, not yours. Nope. A little bit short. The danger of getting hit by those oil urns is, of course, these guys will probably try to hit you with their torch, and if they do, you're going to take some significant damage. I don't know how long the oil status lasts. I don't think it's terribly long. Nope, nope, nope. I also don't know if they give you a visual representation on screen if you actually are still afflicted by oil. Funny, there's an item that I don't know if we actually looked at in the past. We might have, but I'll take another look at it real quick if we hadn't already talked about it once, which is... it goes in the right hand. Let's see if we have it. Yep, we sure do. It's the wooden shield. We've seen a couple of the villagers walking around wielding wooden shields. So the question is, you know, if it's good enough for the villagers to put one of these on to defend themselves, why don't we do that very same thing? So let's take a look at it. Wooden shield. A crude wooden shield used by the masses who have arisen to join the hunt. Hunters do not normally employ shields, ineffectual against the strength of the beasts as they tend to be. Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity. So, you'd have to have played previous From Software games to get what that is saying. It's a little bit of meta commentary. Basically, this game was meant to be an answer to a fundamental problem that the developers at From Software saw in the design of Dark Souls, and also its predecessor, Demon's Souls. One of the problems that they found with that game was that at the very beginning, the outset of Dark Souls, one of the first things that you pick up in the game is a shield, because they were trying to teach the players how to protect themselves. Get a shield, you start walking around with that shield. We'll go ahead and put one on real quick just to demonstrate what I'm talking about. And whoop, here we go. Nope, not that. Hit the right button. People would walk around like this the entire game. They get into a fight, they'd wait for the enemy to swing, the enemy would swing, the block would be made, the enemy might get staggered a little bit, you'd take a swing. You'd play a very slow, careful, defensive game, and it made the game slow down to a crawl. And that was something that the developers realized wasn't fun, it wasn't tense, it actually made the game worse just by having it in there. So what they did in this game was they put a single shield in the game, but make it almost completely useless. If you get attacked by a beast, you're going to get staggered, and it's probably going to harm you. Birds! Yet again, if we hadn't said before, when those little, I believe they're called abnormalities, but I like Oogie Boogies better. Whenever you see one of these guys, typically they place them in areas where if you try to go chasing blindly after them, they'll lead you into a trap of some kind. In this case, it was that surrounding of birds. If I had run into this area, I would have been trapped by all three of them. They're not a terribly imposing force, even three of them. So this wasn't the most dangerous conflict in the world, but they set that up specifically to try to trap you. Thankfully, I'm a little bit too smart for that. I'm good. Man, I'm good. Guys, I might be good at video games. Yeah, we can get over here safely. Hey, what up? Oh, come on. Get in there. Get your blood back. Thank you. I'll take those extra vials. So I think this is what a realtor would describe as a real fixer-upper opportunity. Beast blood pellet. So we're starting to see more of those beast blood pellets we had heard about before. It's interesting. Certain areas are very dense in the visual lore that can be obtained by walking around. This area is probably one of the thinner ones. It's very wide and there's a lot to it, but it's not very story-centric. You see the trap? Trigger it and run! Thunk. I don't know if you can actually get damaged by just touching it while it's just hanging there, but I don't want to find out the hard way, so we're going to leave it right where it is. Because I value my life. Let's go this way. Always like more bullets. Thank you. Oh, interesting. It's a lit lantern, which usually indicates someone that's going to be able to talk to us. Let's have a quick chat with this person.
Oh, a hunter of beasts, are you? Glory be. You know not the value you possess. But more's the pity. The hours of the night are many, and the beasts more than I can count. A veritable hunt unending. Not even death offers solace, and the blood imbibes you. A most frightful fate. Oh my. But I'm willing to do you a kindness. Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength. Yes, I'm unquestionably certain.
Interesting. So we went down there once before, and while we were there, we saw that little cosmic burst sweep through trying to snatch us. So it sounds almost like he's telling us to go down there and let it do that. But he also gave us something called a Tonsil Stone. Tonsil Stone, a latticed, deformed rock, or perhaps a meteorite. Appears useless, but possesses some odd gravitational force that prevents its riddance. A dubious soul once said, "Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength." Now, you also notice when you look at this item, as they said here, perhaps a meteorite, if you look behind the stone, you see what looks kind of like the cosmos, stars, nebulous gases. Interesting. We're starting to hear more and more about the cosmos as we play into the game. but no real explanation as to why. No, for certain. I think these dogs can get out of the cages if you don't get to them fast enough, so you don't want to wait. You do not want to wait. Yeah, let's do this now. So there's a passage here that kind of leads off the beaten path. And some weird flowers and a whole lot of bodies. A whole lot of bodies. Including one right here. So we may not get to examine this unless I do an episode on a brief episode on the Chalice Dungeons, and that may happen, but we'll go ahead and tip a little bit of a hand on what we're looking at here, since I don't know if we'd get any other clue as to what this stuff is. These little puffball type growths that are appearing here are what the game refers to as tomb mold, which is flowering plants that appear in areas where there are decaying corpses. And as you can see, there is a decaying corpse literally right there in the middle of all that tomb mold. So that's what these flowers represent. In other words, we're in an area where a whole lot of decaying bodies have been placed, as though that wasn't obvious from all the bones we're seeing down here, and of course corpses. We do not want to drop that way. We just want to keep right on trucking. Oh boy. So remember how we mentioned that there were these people who had bells around their necks? We just found one. Hey, what's up? You want to come here? Maybe throw rocks at you, idiot. Ow! That's what I get for taking my eyes off the ball. I'm taking advantage of you. He's too big to enter. We're having a standoff. He wants to hit me. I don't want to get hit. He really doesn't like what I'm doing. You can't fit in the cave. He could if he wanted to. Blue elixir. Don't think we've seen any of that before. Dubious liquid medicine used in strange experiments conducted by high ministers of the Healing Church. A type of anesthetic that numbs the brain. Hunters, able to retain consciousness by force of will, make use of a secondary effect of the medicine, which dilutes their presence while standing still. So why would a beast this big be carrying a jar of blue elixir? It could be one of two things. Number one, as the item mentioned, it numbs the mind. Perhaps the Healing Church was trying to make these large, lumbering characters who are clearly not human docile, and they did so by supplying them with this blue elixir that they were required to drink to make them more willing to follow instruction. It could also be that they were trying to obscure their presence, but that doesn't seem like something that these very large, towering individuals were keen to do. They just wanted to attack. That's all they were looking to do. This is poison water. Yucky, yucky poison water. Ew. And now would be a good time to put on some Antidote if I don't already have any. I don't think there's anything back here. I don't see anything. I'll go ahead and use blood instead, but if I need to, I can always give myself an Antidote. Nourishing Blood Gemstone. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that item actually represents a... oh, shoot! I forgot about those things. Stupid worms! These things are the worst! Small hitboxes, very hard to see, very hard to attack, even if you lock on. Those things are obnoxious. Very dangerous enemies. Now, I see a very large tomb here, and we don't have an explanation as to what it represents. We just know it's there. Let's see if we can't get the drop on Big Boy here. He's surrounded by worms! He did not like us waking him up. Run away! My cowardice will be rewarded. And let's go ahead and pop an Antidote so we can stave off a little bit of the damage we're taking, at least for a while. And let's swing back this way. Let's see what's back behind this giant tomb. There's another item. Pop another Antidote. And a passage. So you can fight these guys, you can try to do some damage. You can take advantage of the little caves as well. These guys are not very smart. They can't get into the caves. I don't know if he can get too far in here. He might be able to come in somewhat. Hey, we're not done here. Yeah, right here, buddy. Wow! Okay, so he can't come in this cave. Uh-oh. Roll away, roll away, roll away. Oh, boy. Key up. Oh, wow. He hit me up here. Impressive. I'm not even mad. I'm genuinely impressed. Ouch! One more. There we go. Bloodstone Shard. Is there another item? No, there wasn't. And we can go harass this guy again if we want. Come here. Owie! You hit really hard. He also had a Bloodstone Shard, so nothing critical for either of those guys. You don't have to fight them, but, you know, Bloodstone Shards are nice to pick up. Pop another Antidote. Well, we'll leave those on just in case. I don't think we need them anymore. So you can see bodies clearly were thrown down here at the foot of this ladder. So someone was doing something at the top of this ladder and throwing the bodies down below. And you can see some stacked up on the ledge there. And interesting, you see some tombstones, more bodies. Everywhere bodies, lots of bodies. Someone up here was throwing bodies down. And you can see lots of them right here. So they were throwing them down here, and they may have gotten sloppy. Instead of taking them down to where they were originally placing them, they just started getting, careless and just chucking them into this cellar area as they were done with them. And where are we? We're in a graveyard of some kind. I see a passage to the left there and a passage to the right. And here I am stuck in the middle with you guys. And we are back in Central Yharnam. So at the very beginning of the game, we saw a door on the right side coming out of the sick room that was closed. We couldn't get in there. Well, now we have a way into it. Why do we need that? Well, it turns out this is the sick room we were in. And if we go back here, we're going to find a way up onto the roof that leads to Yosefka's clinic. As you recall, Yosefka on the outset did not want us to come in. She said she was worried about the health of her patients and she had to insist that we not enter. But then we came back a little bit later and her tune seemed to have changed. She was no longer concerned all that much about her patients. She wanted us to go out and find people and direct them to her clinic. Nah. Sorry, Mind Flayer. You get nothing. You're not flaying this mind. Take the bullets, thank you. Would have liked some blood, but... Another madman's knowledge. The guy almost appeared human. Certainly has a human face. Hair's a little frazzled, but nothing outrageous. More birds. So many birds. Just making sure. Yosefka's clinic. And in case you didn't know, we got a burst of insight coming in here. What the fuck is that thing? It's got eyes. A lot of fingers. A lot of fingers. More than a normal human being does, at least it appears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers on each hand. A large bulbous head. A weird pulsating sound coming from it. Cainhurst Summons. Now, we had already heard about Cainhurst Castle from our friend Alfred. Let's take a look at this item. By the way, the creature's docile unless you attack it. He won't do anything to you unless you do something to him. Cainhurst Summons. An old blood-stained summons inviting an honored guest to the forsaken Castle Cainhurst. Rather bafflingly, it is addressed to you. Do not hesitate. The stagecoach leaves from Hemwick Crossing. So in the previous episode, we noted while we were down at the larger area before entering the witch's abode that there was this strange blue tombstone-like structure or statue kind of standing in the middle of the area, not at the bottom of the hill before you go up to the witch's abode. That is where we have to go to use this summons. And that would take us to Castle Cainhurst. But now we have the means to go to this Castle Cainhurst that we had heard about. Well, if they were trying to keep things secret in here, they failed to do so. And there's a note in this chair. Let's see what the note says. Handwritten scrawl. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. Remember that? That was one of the first notes that we found in the game. But apparently someone inside here wrote that note and left it for us, or maybe they were writing multiple notes and handing them out as people were coming in, signing the contract, and becoming ostensibly hunters. Don't know. But that note wasn't here before, it was down there. So we're going to leave this bizarre creature as it is. No need to kill it. He's done nothing wrong to us.
How did you worm your way in here? Very unfortunate. I had such high hopes for you. Well, I won't make any excuses. Would you mind leaving us alone? Things need not change. You'll do the rescuing, and I'll do the saving. But if you refuse to leave... Oh well. I've always wanted to try my hand on a hunter.
So, an interesting thing happened at the very outset of the game that we didn't have good explanation for. But this kind of lays plain what we did not understand before. When we started the game, we were greeted by a woman by the name of Yosefka. And when we came back to the clinic a short time after we started the game, we met another woman whose voice is just a tiny bit different than that woman's. In fact, if you go into the casting list for the voice actors for the game, there are 2 women who voice the role of Yosefka. The reason for that is the original Yosefka that we met at the very outset of the game died. This woman who showed up in her place is an imposter Yosefka. She came here, most likely from the Healing Church, to conduct experiments. she wants us to find people and send them to this clinic so that she can conduct her experiments. What kind of experiments? Well, we found a weird blue guy down the hall there. If you send other villagers to Yosefka's clinic, more of those blue people will be found in these halls. There will be one individual that we will be sending here, but we have not found that person yet, so we are going to circle back to that at another time. But let's see if there's anything important to find in here. And if it wasn't clear before, here's one of the ones that they tried to convert. So the healing church was making mushroom people, for lack of a better term. It's hard to say what exactly these things are, at least from what we have at this point. Communion. I think we had already picked up a communion, so this is probably nothing new. Yep. This will actually give us more blood vials, so it would behoove us to return to the Hunter's Dream at some point to put this on. But let's read it again, just in case there's anything new. A secret symbol left by Careth, runesmith of Bergenworth. Several runes relate to blood, including communion, which raises the maximum number of blood vials one may carry. This rune represents the healing church and its ministers. Blood ministration is, of course, the pursuit of communion. So nothing that we didn't already know there. So we have a little bit of a jog left. You have two options here. You can actually go in there and face the imposter Yosefka and kill her at this point, which would end the secret experiments that they've been conducting in this clinic. Or you can leave her alive, and there is a little bit more story that will occur that you can take advantage of if you just let her stay alive. The only people that are going to show up in the clinic are the ones that you send there at this point in the evening or in the night of the hunt. No one's going out anymore. The only way they would be able to get people is if they were kidnapping them, and she's pretty much operating alone in that clinic, so we don't have to worry about her getting any more victims unless we send them to her. And I have no idea what that squishing sound was that I just stepped on. I stepped on a big bug. And let's make our way back to where we were. We've got a little more progress we want to make before the end of this episode. I'm down at the bottom. Now, I thought I killed all of these guys. How are you back? Sorry, I think we're back. The video flaked out on me again, so I had to stop for a second to make sure that everything got caught back up. So there's probably going to be another big audio or video glitch at the later portion of this particular episode. I do apologize. No great explanation for why these things happen in these videos. I thought I had a good solution for it, but apparently nothing's perfect, including just simply letting the card and the system sit for a couple minutes to get the kinks out of it before I start recording. You do the best you can, but of course I am operating on a system that had some older components in it, and you know, sometimes older components tend to have some issues operating on their own. And here I thought these guys weren't going to come back. They're all back. Bad dog. No. Bad dog. Feels kind of scummy killing them like that, but also they were going to try to kill me, so whatever. Woo! You little sneak. I'll get you. Get some blood. Let's see, where? I don't think there's anything. Oh, yeah, there is. Oh, and a snatcher. Ah, man, they still hit hard. So do I. Uh-oh. Oh! No, you don't. Now, interesting to note these tall, thin, human-like characters who are also pale, look an awful lot like the characters that we found out in the Cathedral Ward, which I think I named in a previous episode. They're actually called church servants. But these guys are a little more haggard, and they're also acting in a far more devious manner, trying to scoop up people, drag them away. Got a little bit of blood for the exchange there. Beast Roar. Let's take a quick look at that. I believe it's a usable. Yeah, sure is. This is one that requires arcane points, which is why we had been putting some into our arcane stat in the past. One of the forbidden hunter tools made by Irreverent Izzy. Borrow the strength of the terrible undead dark beasts, if only for a moment, to blast surrounding foes back with the force of a roaring beast. The indescribable sound is broadcast with the caster's own vocal cords, which begs the question, what terrible things lurk deep within the frames of men? So we're going to start finding items that we can use with quicksilver bullets as a medium, strange as that sounds, that allow us to do some rather unusual things. But they will also require points added into either our blood tinge stat or our arcane stat. So we are going to have to start upgrading one or the other. I tend to prefer arcane because I think some of the abilities that you unlock by adding to arcane are a little more interesting than what you get from blood tinge. But again, that's something that we'll delve into at a later time because I don't think we're quite to the point where we can offer a good explanation for those particular stats just yet. Not yet. We're getting close. Always look for traps. More blue elixir. Allows us to become invisible, but it doesn't say anything about other people becoming invisible by using it. It may be that those people are simply using it because they want to numb their mind. Maybe they encountered something that they found unsavory or unsettling and just wanted to chill out, man. That's like taking a Xanax, I would imagine. Blood vials, excellent. Got someone's attention. Big swing!
This town's finished.
There's another guy right here. He's just taking a little nap. I'll ruin his day, unfortunately. Uh-oh. I've been spotted. That guy's just like, oh yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want to my friend. Don't do anything to me. I'll take my turn, that's fine. Just because we're trying to kill each other doesn't mean we can't be sporting lads about it. Hello. Goodbye. More bullets. I want blood. See the trap? Now here's the part that really stinks about this. They're not going to walk over it, I don't think. Yeah, see? He's trying to be very sneaky and not trick it, or trap it. Trigger it? That's the word I'm looking for. Trigger it! Same with those guys. They know it's there. They're not going to try to trigger it either. I hear someone dragging a tool somewhere. I don't know where. So that's another trap up there. If you step onto that ledge, you drop down into here. And theoretically, if that happens, you'll have to fight your way back out, but I don't think any of these are insurmountable challenges. See if there's anything back here. Aha! Should have stuck with the gun, buddy. Not all of these houses have items in them. Well, you would have to wonder about the sorry state of the people who live in these houses if this is what their homes look like. Just ramshackle piles of wood. Barely even tacked down. Alright, I think... Is there anything... Did we go back this way? I don't know if we went back this way. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And a door, which we cannot open from this side. That's not a big deal. So, I've done everything we can down here, aside from falling into a trap and or walking to this sludge pit. With people inside it. And someone throwing cocktails. Molotovs. Wish they were throwing cocktails. Use a drink right now. Cue shameless promotion. Hey guys, go check out Shadow Gate, the drinking game, and Drink Raiser, an act raising drinking game on my channel now. Haha. Alright, so we have the means to get to the rooftops where those guys are throwing their Molotovs down from. So let's take advantage. You tried. You failed. Oh, come on. Get a hit. There we go. One more. I don't have to fight by your rules. I'll fight by mine. Someone else throwing Molotov somewhere? Up ahead. As usual. Come here, you. You missed. So you're not under any obligation to go on the rooftops here. It is a safer way to get into this area without getting bombarded by Molotovs in what is a pit of oil. You can just sneak all the way to this area here, kind of gently drop down onto the rooftops and make your way through the pit a little more quickly and safely. Those creatures down there, of course, since they are also in oil, susceptible to Molotovs. Let's see if we can hit him. Big swing! Nope, too short. Now, let's get in there. So now we are also engulfed in the oil. Bad time to try to use fire weapons. You can see, okay, so they do show it. If you look at the very top corner there, up by my little hand holding something in my ribcage icon, there is a triangle. That means that I am currently debuffed by oil, which means if I get hit by fire, it's going to do a ton of damage. So that's why it's important to go to the rooftops first and try to kill those Molotov-wielding guys. If they throw the Molotovs down here, you will probably die in one hit. Ow! Give me that blood back, jerk. Stop it. Bad. No. It's a beast! I got all these Molotovs, I might as well use one. Hey, what up? Ouch! So not great guys to trade blows with, as you can see. Better just try to stun and kill them in one hit if you can. Now, what were you guarding? Another plain-looking gentleman carrying twin Bloodstone Shards. I like to theorize, even though I have no evidence of this, that the more plain-looking humans that you find laying around on the ground here sometimes may have been other people who are called into the dream trying to end the hunt and possibly failed. You never know. Don't have any real evidence to support that. Is there anything else up there? No, there wasn't. But there is over here. Wowie! You jerk. Big swing! Big miss! So I think this may be the first episode when we may just call it before we actually get to a boss fight. The area that we're in right now is an unusually large area compared to the other ones. It's not quickly completed in the normal 2-hour time frame that we operate on for most of these episodes, so it would probably be a good idea once we get to the shortcut, which is somewhere in this area, to just go ahead and wrap it up. Ooh, I got some blood vials. Hello, boys. Owie! Uh-oh. Oh, that would be a bad time to die here. Oh, ow! Oh, no, no, no. Let's get to where I have a more advantageous situation. Boys. Big swing. Big miss. Let's go get him. Oh, I jumped right into that one. Take a little blood. You're a little late on that one, guy. Jerk. And you can actually use it if you want. I don't know how to control it exactly. I think maybe if you hold the trigger a little bit longer, the shot goes further, but I don't know for certain. Right. There might be something back here. There is, yes. Twin Bloodstone Shards, always good. Always good. So that is going to be the second part of our journey into the Forbidden Woods. But we will get in here, and I think there is an elevator that we can activate. I'll have to check. Make sure that I'm not misremembering this area. So that guy has an unusual little secret he may reveal to us here if he sees me. He does not seem to be seeing me, so we'll just leave him alone for now. It's alright. I don't need to fight you, sir. You can stay right there. We are looking for something very specific, and you may or may not be able to help me with that. Now might be a good time to put on the old lantern. Do that. Put on the hand lantern. Let there be light! Can't help myself. I know there's nothing in these barrels, but I have to smash. Especially when they're a different color and they stick out like a sore thumb. So this, I think, is the path forward. And unless the elevator, yep, the elevator's back that way. So that's the elevator that we need right back there. So we will have to probably deal with the gentleman right here who's going to give up an interesting little secret. Maybe a little tease for the next episode, but we'll go ahead and take him on. Hopefully quietly. See if we can get the drop on him. The answer's probably going to be no. Hey, look at this. Guess he doesn't get to show us his party trick after all. Now maybe he does. He's getting back up. Nope, I killed him before he got to show it off. That's alright. I assure you we will see his party trick in the next episode. Madman's knowledge. He was staring at that body. He must have been wondering what happened to him as well. Perhaps that madman saw this guy's little party trick? Who knows? Oh no. I thought I had it! I thought I had the trigger! Maybe I have to go further after all. I wonder if I gotta get up to that part before I can do it. Which I don't think you can do in here, can you? Ah, bummer. I guess we'll have to do a little more journeying before we can get out of here. Alright, well. Moving on. Like there are some goodies we can get here by dropping down onto this ledge just below. Below. Owie! Hey, what up? Give me some blood. Thank you. It's a long drop. And we are standing on some very old wood. I don't think I would have the fortitude to stand on that if I was in her place. It's going out on these long, rickety, rotten planks. Just take a look out over the edge. No thanks. I'm good up here. Poison knives, not terribly useful to us. But I think I saw something. If I can get the camera to stop flaking out. Did I see something down here? No. I definitely see something there. So let's do this. And grab this. Cannon! Now that is a very interesting weapon. Well, look at that big thing. So my handgun does 79 damage when you hit an enemy with it. This thing does 200. But it's also very wasteful. If you see in the middle column there where it says QS bullet use, the handgun uses 1 bullet per shot. This uses 12 per shot. Also, you have to be ridiculously strong to use it, but let's take a look at the description. Cannon. Large prototype firearms fashioned by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs. Use of this weapon is equivalent to toting a mounted cannon, complete with its ridiculous weight, staggering kick, and lavish use of quicksilver bullets into battle. Such a monstrosity was doomed from the start, and indeed its development was cut short. Yet against impossibly gigantic foes, it might be just the thing. So this is a monster of a weapon, and it's really not meant for serious use. This is just for people who are kind of showing off when they play the game. If you allocate your runes in the right manner, you can actually get 2 shots of it off before you run out of bullets, but always, if you want to use more bullets than you have equipped, you can just draw the blood out of your leg on the one side, which does harm you, but it allows you to acquire 5 bullets for temporary use. You don't get to keep those if you shut the game off, I don't think. I think those are gone. It's kind of a one-time deal. Here. There we go. And... well, I hate to say it. I thought that was a quick return back up to the top, and apparently it was not. Weird. I find that very baffling. I thought this was where you managed to get your shortcut back to the very entrance of the area. And now it seems like you have to do some more digging around to get to that shortcut. Shoot. We're already at the 2-hour mark. I was hoping this would be a 2-hour episode clean, but apparently it's not. Not meant to be. Unless I find another shortcut somewhere. Hey, there's the party trick we were trying to hold off on until the next episode. Uh-oh. Don't let him kill you! So that gentleman inside here had snakes under his little head wrap there. Now, the game does not explicitly spell this out, but the ashen blood may in fact be the snakes. Hard to say. I don't know if there's any direct evidence that says that's exactly what it is, but that may be something that you dig up in another area of the game that we haven't gotten to yet. Is this it? Is this the shortcut? This is the shortcut. I don't know why I thought it was in the tower. Okay, so I guess we will get to end where I thought we were going to end for the day before we go delving into the second half of the Forbidden Woods. Whew. The game had me worried. But we have a little bit more that we got to do before we can wrap up this episode, including we're about to meet a very unusual gentleman. More Antidote. We're inside of one of the windmills here, and there's a gentleman just kind of hanging out. Let's have a chat with him.
Ah, a new face, are you? And an accomplished hunter, it would appear. I am Volta, Master of the League. Members of the League cleanse the streets of all the filth that's spread about during the hunt. Like any half-decent hunter ought to, you know? Haven't you seen enough of these wretched beasts? Freakish slugs and mad doctors. Sentence these fiends to death with the help of your League confederates. What do you say? Why not join the League?
He's making a tempting offer here. I do like killing all these people since they all seem to want to kill me. Let's join the League.
Yes, as a hunter well should. Commit this to heart. Our own Carol Rune.
Sorry, I think I might have hit a button there.
The League.
Sorry. Impurity.
The night brims with defiled scum and is permeated by their rotten stench. Just think, now you're all set to hunt and kill to your heart's content. Hunt in cooperation with your fellows, your League confederates.
This guy doesn't sound like he's all there.
No, there is one thing you must know.
Yes, sir.
By the oath of the League, those who bear its rune will see vermin.
Oh.
Vermin writhe deep within all filth and are the root of man's impurity. All vermin are to be crushed. The League exists to expunge all vermin, ridding us of any trace of human corruption. And so, until we are rid of all vermin, you must continue to hunt and kill. This bloody fate is ours alone. Do not expect the world to grasp our work. But remember, the Confederates will always have my blessing. And each other. Always.
So, Volter here is a very intense gentleman. But believe it or not, he represents what would be considered the good faction of the game, if any faction in this game could be considered good. He represents the group that kind of, in a roundabout way, opposes a group that is represented by the Vile Bloods. The Vile Bloods actually have the vermin in them that this man seeks for us to destroy. People in the game who choose to align with the Covenant, I'm not sure what to call it in this game, that the Vile Bloods have, will have vermin in their bodies. If we were to face them in battle in the game, you know, if someone invades your game and you kill them, they actually do drop vermin. There are a couple of NPC characters as well that would have vermin inside their bodies. The only way that you'll be able to get the vermin out of their bodies is to have the rune that we just gained from Valter equipped when you face them. So it's the Impurity Rune. Let's see, display. Impurity. A Kerith rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. This rune, discovered inside the Forbidden Beast Eater, came to symbolize impurity and the Oath of the League. Confederates of the League cooperate with hunters from other worlds and hunt to discover vermin. Vermin writhe within filth and are the root of man's impurity. Crush all vermin without hesitation. So, important to note that they say that this rune was discovered inside the Forbidden Beast Eater. So, they found the rune inside someone who ate a beast. Didn't just kill a beast, they physically ate it. Interesting. Someone who was so obsessed with murdering beasts that they ended up consuming one of them. Anyway, thank you for trying to jump me, bird. We have a hunter lantern right here. We're going to go ahead and take that and go back to the hunter's dream and call this one an episode. We made good progress, and the next area is probably going to be an hour on its own, a boss fight, and then another area directly behind that that's very short but will be very lore-rich, so we want to hold those two areas off until the next episode. The doll is missing again. You come up here, and guess what? She's praying at this grave again. I was going to say yet again, and then it became yen. Talking is tough.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire?
Man, this is a tall statue of a doll.
Hunters have about
Okay,
blood.
nothing new.
Of course, I do. Isn't that how you've made me?
Okay.
Farewell, good hunter.
I'll come back to you in a minute. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Nothing there. I don't know if we made enough significant progress in this episode to get any new items out of these, but I prefer to check this before we make any purchases. Or any level purchases, I guess I should say. Level upgrades. You know what I'm saying. Now, we have a torch, but we never actually acquired a hunter's torch. I think the big difference there is the amount of damage they deal, but this isn't a terribly useful weapon. It's more about lighting the environment than anything else. A torch formed by wrapping a pine resin-drenched cloth around the end of a long stick. Once used in Old Yharnam. Designed to incinerate beasts and victims touched by the scourge. Its fire damage is highly effective against beasts. So nothing terribly useful there. But we can buy a cannon, even though we found one, so we have no use for that at this point. And we did find a new communion room, which allows us to equip more blood vials, so let's stick that on. We're going to open our mind to brand an even sharper image into our brain. Oh, which one did I turn off? I turned off moon. I gotta... Now, what are you doing, dingus? Come on, go back to the altar. There we go. That's the one I was trying to change. There we go. I don't think we got any others that were terribly important, except for impurity. Again, that fourth rune is exclusively for the covenants in the game. You can only equip those runes in this fourth slot. Everything else, I think, goes into these first three. And I think we can upgrade our saw spear so that we can now... Yeah, we can use the fire rune inside of it. Or the fire gemstone, rather. Still no bloodstone chunks. Now might not be a bad idea to upgrade the Tonitrus so that we have a weapon capable of lightning damage. So that one's nicely upgraded. It's not quite the same level as these others up here, but the good news is there's nothing terribly critical here that we would be able to put in the third rune slot, so The benefit of this weapon, of course, is that lightning damage that it already has. You combine the lightning damage with the damage it does, just base damage, you know, as a club-type implement. It actually does slightly more damage than either of these two without any runes equipped. But that is assuming that the enemy you're attacking also can take damage from lightning or blue sparks, as it were. So let's go into this gem. Actually, let's take a look at this one first and see what we can upgrade, if anything. So we can add blunt attack. That would be the kind of gem you'd want to put in the Tonitrus. Nothing special there. And then this one, I don't think we'll ever find anything better, or at least not without going into the Chalice Dungeons. And then we could change this, but that would be a waste. And this is where you want to put that one. So let's go ahead and stick it on there. So now we have a fire implement. Unfortunately, none of these others are going to add anything except maybe a Tempering Blood gemstone that has bonuses to your hit point recovery. And none others. So, I mean, this is really... There's no point in putting that in there. You can, but it doesn't benefit you in any way. That would be useful to put in there. And in fact, let's put this in there instead. So this weapon, since it does fire damage, is meant for attacking beasts exclusively. You put the gold blood gemstone in there, and it improves your attack damage versus beasts as well, up 12.6%. So this will do extra damage against beasts, no matter what kind you're fighting, as long as it is, in fact, a beast. So that's a good combination there. And the Tonitrus, we can add that blunt attack damage. Adds a nice bonus there. And then this one could be anything. Doesn't really matter. That's probably the best one of all of them to put on there. So we have a nice selection of weapons that we can swap between if we want to use a different one. Again, the Tonitrus, the big issue there is the fact that it does not allow you to do very much work before the durability wears out and you have to stop using it or it'll break. So that is kind of a deterrent to heavy use of it. I don't know why I walk in a big circle to get here. I could just walk through the door. I'm dizzy. Where is he? There you are.
Welcome home. What is it you did? Very well. Let me stand close.
We'll put 2 into Arcane. We want to keep bumping that up a little bit over time. A little bit more and a little bit more. We'll do 1 there. 1 there. So this is critically where I wanted my health to be at the minimum while we were playing through the game this time through. 1,000 hit points. I think that is a great stopping point for the health if you don't level up much more than that. But we'll also add a point to endurance because stamina is always useful. That's a good spread of points. Alright.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find...
So we're going to mix things up. We're going to stop in here this time. Let's go ahead and wrap things up with the statue staring over my shoulder, because I always like people staring at me while I'm talking. So in this episode, we kind of laid out the Lovecraftian themes that are at play in the game. As I mentioned before, let me pull up the list here so I can kind of read them down in short. One of them is the idea that the dream world and the waking world are 2 separate dimensions that exist at the same time, and that humans can enter simply by falling asleep and waking. It's that easy. We talked about the theme that knowledge of the true nature of the world around us is dangerous, and that if the mind absorbs too much for it to handle, it would snap and you would lose your sanity. We talked about the idea that the cosmos is incomprehensibly vast, but that humans throughout the stories of Lovecraft are always attempting to make it accessible through either cult rituals or use of bleeding edge science for the time that the stories are usually set in. In the case of this story, this is kind of set in a Victorian era where characters have pistols and gunpowder, and you saw on Volter he actually had like a prototypical style lamp or torch on his waist that looked like a crude flashlight. So they have some very early crude technology that, you know, makes use of ostensibly electricity, possibly. So science is a part of the story that we're exploring here, but so is a lot of occult stuff like the collection of body parts and the use of them for rituals. And the fourth concept that we examined, that there is a race of ancient, powerful beings known as the Great Old Ones that used to rule the Earth, or maybe still rule the Earth, and their existence defies our ability to understand it with a sane human mind. And also, human beings and our place in the cosmos is basically ruled insignificant by their existence. Again, we don't have any real evidence that they exist, but we're starting to see some very strange things that almost look like they're not from this world at all. Those mind flayers, what part of the planet would those have possibly come from? The creatures in that clinic, they look alien, almost. I mean, I refer to it as like a mushroom person because they have that big cap on the top that kind of looks like the big cap on top of a mushroom, but he was making some sounds that did not sound of this planet. So that's a very curious discovery that we don't have a great explanation for at this point. We did a little backtracking through Central Yharnam, checked in on Gilbert. Gilbert talked about how he didn't know anything about the Institute of Bergenworth, but he also indicated that unfortunately his health has deteriorated to the point where he's probably not going to be alive much longer. So a little sad end to his story, as it were. We made our way down to the Forbidden Woods after a lot of circling and trying to backtrack and figure out where I had to go. And we found an area of a lot of people setting traps and a decrepit place that didn't really give us a lot of exposition, but we did find a little side passage in the Forbidden Woods. And when we took that side passage, we found an area full of corpses that had been haphazardly chucked aside as though they were subject to experiments. And once those experiments were complete, the bodies were just kind of thrown away. We followed a shaft where most of those bodies seemed to be coming from, all the way back up to a side area in Central Yharnam, right next to the Sickroom that we started the game in. We made our way up inside the Sickroom, and we found that we had found a back room into Yosefka's clinic. While we were looking around, we found another one of these strange mushroom-type people. Extra fingers, weird, beady lit eyes, and it was very docile. We had absolutely no explanation for who it was or where it came from until we made our way to the other side of the clinic and came across Yosefka, who warned us. She seemed perturbed by the fact that we had found our way into the clinic, but she warned us not to come any closer. And in fact said, hey, we have an arrangement here and we should stick to it. You go find people and guide them to the clinic, and I will do the work that I have been trying to do all along. And then she had a little sinister laugh, and we kind of left her to her business. Thankfully, at this point, we haven't sent anyone to her because she's doing some shady shit, and we don't want to give her more people. At least not yet. But from what we can tell, she's been turning normal humans into these weird mushroom people. So that was the larger glut of what we learned in this episode. We also had a brief conversation about the fact that the church servants, the large, pale, dark-eyed people that were wandering around the cathedral ward, while most of them appear to be doing the church's bidding, at least one of them had a ball and chain on him, so it appeared that he is imprisoned. Also, we noted that one of those characters was carrying an item called Blue Elixir, and that Blue Elixir numbs the mind. Well, for a character that is already not showing a large wealth of intelligence, possessing something like Blue Elixir almost seems to be used to make them docile and suggestible, or open to suggestion by someone else. So the church may not be employing these beings as much as they are enslaving them. But that is something that we'll delve into in a future episode. So I think that's going to do it for episode 6 of our Bloodborne lore play. As always, I do appreciate all of you watching, and I will see you next time.